So first of all, I'm going to start off by saying Barakatham, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the whole elect, starting with the 144,000. Shalom. All right, so today's lesson, Lord willing, ain't going to make this one long, but Lord willing, I'm going to finish these videos I watching of the elders, right? Just going into, history of the Gentiles and whatnot. And, Lord willing, this is basically like a part one of it. I'm gonna read a precept real fast. This is Acts 13 and 41. I start verse 40. It said, "Beware therefore lest that come upon you which is spoken of in the prophets. Behold, ye despisers and wander and perish. For I work a work in your days, a work which ye shall see and know, which you shall in no wise believe, through a man declared unto you." Right? We understand it. The Jews back then, the Jews who knew they was Israelites, they despised the ones they hated the ones who was, Israelites, and they was following the other nations, who was uncircumcised, who was doing the concepts of other nations or whatnot, following the law experience of the other nations, eating pork, homosexual, all those type of things, right? That's some little notes right I want to bring up, right? So you had Israelites, right? The Israelite force being brought back from among these nations. That's the work. That's the, we say, for our work in your days, and that's the title of this lesson going to be, for our work in your days, right? But some little notes I want to read, right? It says you had Israelites who knew the history of how you had Israelites that were in the middle of these different nations that was called Gentiles and uncircumcised by those same Jews, right? Most High telling them they're going to be amazed, right? Because when these people be brought back in, because at the time they would look at like they was very bug out. If you see like somebody like, this is example, this is just an example. If you see like a crackhead and you see like, oh yeah, but she gone. The next thing you know, you see her a few years later, she done got herself together. You're going to be like, boy, ain't no way that was such and such from back then. I just seen, you know what I'm saying? Right? And that's how, most I'm telling you, y'all going to be amazed come working your days. And that's those Gentiles being grafted in, because the ones who knew they were Israelites, right, they despised, they hated the other ones, right? And the Lord willing, when I'm gonna finish, like I said, I'm gonna finish the lesson of the elders, and I'm gonna go into, Romans 11 as well, right? And how they envied the ones that, that was grafted in and whatnot. But today I just want to touch on, right, for our work in your days, right? And as we seeing more and more that's coming in today, right? As you see today, right? Let's go to Baruch, right? Baruch chapter 4, if I'm not mistaken. Nah, it's like it. Baruch, was it 5 or is it? Nah, I'm tripping. Baruch 2 and 30, right? It says, "For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captives, they shall remember themselves." And Lord willing, yesterday, me and the brothers did a sit down, and the title sit down. The secrets were not given to everybody, because you want to understand this truth is a mystery, right? You understand it's a truth. We speak the truth in the mystery. Really paraphrase, right? It's a mystery to get into the kingdom of heaven. Right? You got to be spiritual. You got to have the spirit of Yahweh to understand these mysteries. And one of the mysteries is the mystery of the Gentiles, who the Gentiles were. And we know who those Gentiles were. There was Israelite foreigners who was in the way of these other nations. With Lord willing, in part 2, I'm going to go deeper in that. But the elders been going into lessons in that. I know Elder Apostle Rumlot did one. Elder Apostle Tahar did one. And I'm watching that an older video of the elders, Elder Apostle Tahar, Elder Apostle Rumlot, Elder Apostle Gabar, of them breaking down Romans 11 as well. All right, so Lord willing, we're going to go into that in part 2. In part 1, we're going to establish who those Gentiles is. Right, those Gentiles are the Hebrew Israelites who were caught up in the ways of these other nations. You had the Hellenist period, right? You got to think, we've been in captivity amongst many nations, right? And this was one of the worst captivities we've been in. And you got people going by, African American, Mexican, Puerto Rican, things of that such, right? Those bywords, right? But it also it was a curse put upon us that this knowledge and understanding will be stripped from us, right? It was at Deuteronomy 32, I should scatter, matter of fact, I'm going to go to it real fast. Deuteronomy 32 and 26, it says, "I said I would scatter them into the corners," right? That's the corners, is like ghettos, right? The ghettos, the poverty, right? It said, because when you sweeping trash, somebody comes to the house, you sweep trash, and you have time to put it in the dustbin. What you do? Sweep it in the corner so they can't see. So they can't see it. Where you put it, where you can hide the trash and whatnot. The ghettos, the poverty, the places where you see mostly Jake at. Right? It says, I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Right? Because our knowledge not here has been stripped from us. Right? It was stripped from us. Right? But and that's why in Isaiah 42, right, it even talks about how even those prophets and those ones who came who was with Yahushua, the disciples came with Yahushua. At one point they were blind, right? Let me see. Right here, Isaiah 42:19. It says, "Who is blind but my servant? O deaf is my messenger that I sent. Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as the Lord Yahweh's servant," right? Because Yahushua had to come and bring that light unto us and open and bring that knowledge and understanding back into us, right? And Lord willing, He left the Comforter for us, the Rakakadash, right? And then once you have the Holy Spirit supping with you, then these mysteries and these things are come back into you. I'm gonna read a precept real fast in Romans 11, real fast. Let's see. Oh yeah, right here, Romans 11:25. It says, For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that the blindness in part is happening to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. Right? So you gotta understand it's a mystery. It's a mystery. Everybody won't be able to get it. Everybody, and you see how everybody don't be able to understand it. They think these Gentiles was talking about other nations. No, this Gentiles talking about the Israelites, because you had Israelites that was grafted in. Right? You had Israelites who was grafted in because Jake got the wild and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Even I was thinking about it earlier, right? What was I reading? Oh, Hosea. When I was reading Hosea chapter 1, right? And I was reading it in NLT, and it was talking about how the Most High was he was getting on the northern kingdom, and we understand when he was saying, I deliver Judah from his captors, not without gunfire, this, that, I would deliver from my power. We understand during that time, we was under the time under captivity under the Babylonians, and we understand it. That's when the the Medes and the Persian Empire, Medo-Persian Empire came, and we rebuilt the temple, right? But then guess what happened? Jake went off again. So Yahushua, caused the Romans to come in and whatnot. It's all prophecy, right? We understand it, but it's all a mystery. Everybody don't be able to get this knowledge, understand, and really understand. But in order to understand, like Elder Pastor Romelot mentions a lot, you got to understand the history. You can't just try to jump in. It's clues in it. When they solving mysteries, whatnot, they putting clues together. Well, the spirit of Yahushua gives us those clues to piece it all together. Because Yahushua came down here with the fullness. So in the land of our captors, right, that work. And when Yahushua said, "I'll work in your days," right? We'll go back to that. His working in days is what these Gentiles being grafted back in. And you're seeing that more today. You're seeing the Gentiles waking up more. And the Gentiles are who? Israelites who was in the foreign state of mind, man. Who was in the mindset of the other nations. Even at one point, we was in the Gentile state of mind, such for some of you. But we've been woken up through the Spirit. We've been grafted in, right? Or we've been brought in, right? So this is Acts 13 again, right? In verse 41, it says, "Behold, ye despisers, and wonder and perish, for I work a work in your days." And once again, you seeing that happen more, and you seeing that happen more now. You seeing the whole nation of Israel being brought back together from the northern kingdom and southern kingdom, not just one tribe of Jews, not just tribe, but no, the whole nation of Israel being brought back together, the whole nation, right? But what I mean by that is each kingdom, northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, but understanding that it's only going to be the elect is going to be delivered. All Israel will be brought to the kingdom, but only the elect going to be delivered and overcome. That's why only the elect get this knowledge and understand now. Only the elect be able to understand this mystery, man. Only the elect be able to retain what, in Romans 11 going to that, Romans 11:7. Only the elect is able to obtain what Yahushua said for us to understand, right? This engraft the word that's been sent to us, but it's all a mystery. But you see that work. You see that work, Yahushua said here, working our days is happening a lot now, right? And that's why it's causing so much confusion. It's a stumbling block to the wicked. They can't get it. They don't understand. They talk about those Gentiles in a foreign state of mind who being brought back in through the spirit of power, Yahushua. Because you got to think, Yahushua came laid down for the whole nation. And John chapter 10 talks about for my other sheep, right? What you think talking about? It's talking about the northern kingdom. Because how Yahushua suffered with them? Through the spirit. All you think the northern kingdom is they able to come back in? Because when Yahushua came, he was mainly amongst in Jerusalem amongst the southern kingdom, right? The northern kingdom was already the Assyrians came to Atlantis and Myriad. They was captive and they led the travel up here to the Americas. Now how about you how to deal with them through the spirit, man? But it's things that you got to understand through the knowledge, understanding. You can't just be trying to jump in and think you know something, man. You got to desire that sincere milk, Lord willing, and to grow into a spiritual man to be able to understand these spiritual things, right? So Lord, like I said, we're gonna make this wrong. I just want to, introduce our titles. I working your days, part 1, and then Lord willing, finish these videos in part 2, right? Going to go into, going to deeper, going to go into a little bit more history, and Lord willing, right? You're gonna go into, Romans 11 breakdown. Going into those Gentiles who grafted in, man, right? So grab a quick closing precept real fast, right? This is one of the precepts you brought out yesterday at the camp, right? I just get straight to the point. Colossians 1 and starting at verse 26 says, even the mystery which has been hid from ages and from generations, but is now made manifest to his saints, to whom power will have made known, to whom Yahweh will have made known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is a Mashiach in you, in the hope of glory. Right, whom we preach, warning every man, teaching every man in all wisdom, that we may present every man perfect in Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Whereunto I also labor, striving according to his working, which worketh in me mightily. Right, but the point is in verse 26, 27, right, that mystery that been here for ages, right, is what that mystery among the Gentiles. Those Gentiles are who? Israelite foreigners who are caught up in the ways of these other nations, man. That's that's the how about how start working that work in our days. Those Gentiles being grafted back in, and Lord, like I said in part 2, we'll get into that. It's lucky for me getting the lesson done later. I had to do some a few things with children, which caused me to do a part 1. Lord willing, we'll finish these videos tomorrow, Lord willing, and Lord willing, the spirit is these are tools. Me and the brothers might do a sit down upon it, to a greater one, but. Lord willing, right, this lesson edifying and exalting, right? We'll title this, our work in your days for part 1, right? So Lord willing, this lesson edifying and exalting, right? And I want to give all in their glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shout out to the whole elect, starting with the 144,000.